Marketing is one of the most dynamic teams for any organization and should be. Talking about independence in marketing, it's a means to develop and foster inspiring human connections between brands and consumers, between brands and communities, and between brands and employees, largely who are the biggest brand ambassadors for any brand. With increasing digital transformation, and India has possibly the largest digital natives for any country, over 700 million, a dynamic economic and social environment, look at our upgrading, premiumization, GDP numbers soaring, possibly one of the better ones across the world as we see recessionary pressures. But between all of this, striking a balance between business needs and evolving consumer trends is very important for an independent marketer to be aware so that they can leverage this knowledge for their campaigns and products. And it also allows them to think creatively. A marketer needs to think creatively and not only create strong consumer connections, but also use this knowledge to build a culture that is more inclusive, at a deeper level of human centricity, with empathy, and once again, within and as well as outside the business with their consumers. All of this also allows brands and marketers to drive engagement and growth in a way that they can nurture and strengthen overall human connections for themselves and their organization. For an independent marketer, it is very important to be also in sync with the qualitative and the intangibles, the evolving consumer trends, and equip themselves with real-life insights and the various market spaces and other developments around them. At Beam Suntory, we are guided by the Japanese culture that comes from our investor Suntory, and we are a fully owned subsidiary to them now. And that's why a lot of our culture is guided by Japanese principles. And when we talk about Japan, it's one of the oldest civilizations. Their words are very led, but one of the principles that comes from them is Gemba, something that's very embedded into our way of working and way of thinking, and quite literally it means the real place. But if we understand it better, it really means being in the shoes of your consumer. And how do you do that? You do that by visiting markets on a regular basis and understand your consumers' needs, preferences, also understand your customers, understand the vocabulary both your consumers and customers use, and in turn get more insight on how they consume your brands, why they share their wallet for this purchase, and many other such facts around the role of your brand in their life. This has definitely helped shape marketing strategies for us and be more accurate, be more effective, be more innovative, and project future with a little bit of more precision. This also facilitates a huge amount of value exchange, and this helps shape the quality and the overall service that a business provides. And once again at Beam Suntory, talking about our Japanese principles, there is a culture of monozukuri, and that means precision, process, high quality ingredients, and hardly a secret, but really it's our secret for the high quality products we build for our consumers with attention to detail and a lot of expertise and craftsmanship. Now, all of this, how do you tell your consumers and impress them? And for that, here's another Japanese term, which is again core to how we think about marketing, how we think about our organization, and that is monogatari, literally translating to product stories and effective storytelling so that your consumers can understand and remember about your products in a sea of other brands and products that are out there competing not just with your category but even outside, because it's exactly the same share of wallet, it's exactly the same wallet that you're hoping to get a share of. Consumers know they're getting the greatest quality when they're buying a Beam Suntory product. It could be our #1 bourbon, Jim Beam, or one of the top Scotch whiskies in the country, our legacy brand Teachers. We've launched Oaksmith International Blended Whiskey, our Japanese portfolio with Toki Suntory Whiskey, Roku Craft Gin, our beautiful malts led by Lafroig, and also Bowmore, Ardmore. All of these are have been created with the culture of monozukuri, monogatari, and one more, Kaizen, possibly one that more people in India are familiar with. It comes from, it's penetrated the management literature quite a bit, but something that's not just on our website, we really live it out. The Kaizen mindset, which allows us to evaluate and introduce new products and interventions with a whole mindset of various rounds of improvements, wherever necessary, of course. All of this is combined with, and this is the last, another Japanese principle, yatte minade spirit, as we call it, or the one that allows us to dream big, aim high, not be afraid of new challenges. Now, moving on in talking about sustainability, a very important give of an independent marketer to the community they work with. And even for us at Beam Suntory, our marketers are custodians of the brand's legacy and the strong imprint they have on the future roadmap of the corporate brand and the consumer brands. And it becomes very important for marketers then to create, communicate, and deliver value to consumers in a sustainable way. At Beam Suntory, we're guided by the vision of something that we call growing for good and demonstrate a commitment to social responsibility. As a company dedicated to giving back to society, we feel it's just the right thing to do for the planet, also for our consumers, our employees, our partners, and the communities that we operate in as the larger context. In line with our sustainability commitments, we pledged to a charter. One of them is reducing dependency on single-use boxes for packaging of our Indian portfolio, the ones that we make in India, even though all our brands are global. For example, the Teacher Scotch Whisky, Oaksmith International Blended Whisky, and these initiatives would reinforce our proof positive goals, which is our sustainability charter, really, and reduce our impact on the environment, creating eco-friendly options for our consumers, and then contributing to a more sustainable and equitable future. Lastly, as the world evolves, so do the consumer trends, and it's very important to be abreast with them. An independent marketer must learn to embrace and optimize these changes with tenacity, with agility, and with a fair amount of detail so that he is able or she is able to make the correct projections as you plan for the future. In the past few years, we see consumers actively transitioning into more experimental, experiential, quality-driven products, have a very wide repertoire, not be as loyal to one brand as they used to be at one point in time. And it's very important to stay connected with your consumers, to leverage various channels and curate various hyperlocal, local activations. Some of ours are what we do for Jim Beam, our bourbon, Backyard Jams, borrowing a slice from the American culture, the country of origin for this brand. Also for our Japanese brands, we have izakaya and other appreciations, so the liquid can be fully understood, and similarly, many others. To sum up, independence in marketing requires catering to consumers in a way that appeals to them both functionally and emotionally. Have a clear purpose and vision, values rooted in company culture, and a truly, truly inclusive outlet for an independent charting of route for a winning brand. Here at Beam Suntory, India remains a strategic market we must mention, like it is for many other corporates, but for us as well. And we continue to enhance our footprint for India to be a future growth engine, a current growth engine as well, and unlock as many new growth prospects as we can.